Hello my wonderful, beautiful friends, guys. Welcome back to our /entitled people, where people truly believe that they can do what they want, when they want. And in today's episode, we're dealing with super entitled Karen neighbors, guys, who know absolutely no boundaries. And one OP tells the story about the time a Karen neighbor destroyed her own life over a parking spot. Imagine that, it's wild. Guys, I hope you enjoy the stories. Don't shake your heads too hard, and as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here. Let's dive in. Okay, so this is the absolute most bizarre thing that's ever happened to me. When this happened, my husband wasn't home. It was just me with my 2 children and my cousin who was visiting. It was raining out and my neighbor rings the doorbell. Let's call her Elaine. Elaine said that she was locked out of her house and she needs to wait for her husband. Now, I don't know this neighbor very well. We had recently purchased our home, so I said she was free to wait in the entryway of our home. It has a bench and she could play with her phone. She then asked if she could join us for dinner, and that's when I said I don't know her very well and my husband isn't home. She then said she doesn't mind. Well, I said I mind because it's a safety issue. That's when she tells me that she feels safe and I shouldn't worry. I said I don't feel safe. That's when she gets quiet for like 30 seconds, and then she says that she's an occupational therapist and a healthcare professional, so we should feel fine. I told her no, she can wait in the entryway or leave. I'll bring her a bowl of food if she's hungry. Well, we were in the kitchen and we heard her on the phone yelling how we were horrible people for not letting her inside our house. She just wanted to hang out in the kitchen and play with my children, apparently. When she finally left, which was a little over 20 minutes, we went outside and we found that she poured the bowl of soup I gave her into my kid's shoes in the shoe rack opposite the bench she was sitting. I just can't believe that she thought she was entitled to come inside a stranger's home. Like, if I had known her better or if my husband was home, I would have invited her inside. What an encounter that was. And now, with OP knowing what they know about this woman, the next time she approaches, if she does, I hope OP gives her the good old, get the heck off my property before I call police. Like, yelling and complaining is one thing, right? But getting malicious and dumping soup into a child's shoe out of spite, all because somebody won't let you inside their home, is freaking giving off entitled psycho vibes. And guys, if you think that was oddly entitled, listen to this next post. So here's some background, and this one's a doozy. My neighbor Karen, who lives down the road from me, is the living definition of an entitled mom. She thinks that having a doctor, me living nearby, means she has access to free checkups, and she assumes that I can always write her prescriptions for whatever medication she wants. And I have never, for the record. I found out about this pretty soon after moving in a few years prior. The woman had a chat with one of my close neighbors, and she found out that I was a doctor. And after that, she was borderline harassing me at basically any hour of the day she saw fit. So after many visits to my home, I literally told her that I will only help in cases of emergency. If it's not life or death, do not ring my doorbell. Her kid falling and getting a cut on his leg, I do not need to be involved for. Nor do I need to be harassed to write a prescription for, quote, a special cream that heals wounds faster. That's the kind of stuff she used to bother me with. We used to have at least 2 clashes per month about me not doing my job for free and ignoring my oath to help people in need, blah blah blah. That said, 3 days ago, Karen comes to my door at 7 p.m., interrupting my dinner, saying her kids were coughing and they had really high fevers, and that the small one, the one with asthma, was wheezing. Without opening the door, I told her if there's a cause for concern, that she needs to take them to the nearest hospital immediately to see a doctor. But she refused because why wait at the hospital for hours to be seen when she can see me, right? And here's the thing, she doesn't want to go to the hospital for the fear of contracting, quote, other gross viruses, in her words. She wanted me to come to her house to see her kids to verify if they had a respiratory virus or not. and then she wanted a prescription for her husband's back pain. I said no because, again, it's the middle of my dinner, and if it's a cause for concern, that she should bring them to a hospital. There was a lot of bantering between the two of us, which quickly escalated into her shouting, kicking my door, and then threatening to sue me for refusing to do my job. I knew this was pointless, so again, I told her I'm not gonna deal with this and to please get off my property. I escaped into my room and I put my noise-canceling headphones on. Who knows how long she was out there shouting at my door, but in the end, she took the kids to the ER. Gossip goes fast in this neighborhood, and I found out from some neighbors who I'm friends with that Karen is bad-mouthing me. She's telling everyone that I'm a bad, corrupt doctor that will only see patients if it's going to line my pockets. And here's another thing. She has a habit of exaggerating how sick her kids are, just so I would come and see them. And quite frankly, it's not my job to be the neighborhood doctor. I'm all for helping people in need, believe me, but this woman's entitlement is on another level. Yeah, for sure, definitely it's crossed the line into harassment at this point, and I think OP might need to contact a lawyer to get a cease and desist letter going, because if not, I don't think this is ever going to stop. That is so entitled, right? Like, just because you live by a doctor doesn't mean they're there for you and will do whatever you need. And for her to badmouth OP and then threatening to sue them for not seeing her sick kids outside of work whenever she wants is ridiculous. And seriously, you can't help but to think, if she does this to OP, does she take advantage of everybody around her? I'm thinking so. So let me set the scene. It was a gorgeous summer day, and for one reason or another, I was home in the middle of the day, and I decided to take my dog out for a nice long walk. The first thing I notice is there's this loud noise happening. I get outside, and I see that it's my neighbor's kid having band practice in the garage. Sure, no worries, it's the middle of the day. Who am I to complain about a little excessive noise at this hour? No worries either about the fact that the house literally had kids all over it. On the roof of the garage, hanging out, whatever it is kids do. I walk around the block and note that you can still clearly hear their music a full block away. I just continue walking and I have to pass them before I get back home. My sweet little dog and I, we're just minding our own business as it's a gorgeous day. I'm telling her how she's the prettiest girl in the world when I'm interrupted by a little punk-ass kid yelling this racist crap about me into the microphone. For the whole duration of the time it takes me to walk past the house, the kid's yelling racial slurs, telling me to go back to my country. That's when I say to him, that's not nice to say to random people. And the kid just laughed at me and told me to do something about it. Well, I do. Later that evening, it's just after dinner time, when I decide to mosey on over and introduce myself. I knock on the door and Dad comes to greet me. I say, hi, you don't know me, but my name is so-and-so and I live in that house right over there. Now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but when your son has band practice over here, it's quite dangerous, as these kids are all over your roof. But the most concerning thing to me was that when I walked by this afternoon, your son was shouting racial obscenities at me. I know you didn't raise your son to be that way, so I just wanted to let you know. At this moment, a bright-faced, sweet little angel pops out of nowhere. I'm assuming the boy's little brother, and he says, yes, Dad, I was here, I heard it all. And I thought to myself, oh, little bro, your timing is perfect. Dad's mouth sets into a firm line, and he says, get your brother from the basement. Little bro gleefully goes off to retrieve his punk-ass brother. When he gets up there, Dad says, apologize, and tomorrow morning I'm throwing out that drum set. The kid apologizes, and guess what was on the curb the next day? Oh boy, I hope the answer to that was OP's new drum set. Wouldn't that be something? Like, could you imagine if OP asked if they could take it? Like, not only would that be justice served, but that little punk knowing that OP now had his drum set would have been frickin' brilliant. Like, I'd be drumming on that every single time he walked near my house. Also, the little brother that was so quick to rat out his older brother is such a sibling moment, isn't it? Dad, I heard it all. Go punish him. That said though, good on dad for making the kid apologize, because clearly that's not how one should talk to complete strangers. Okay, so this happened in January, but the district attorney called me 2 days ago with the update. I'm a wheelchair user because of a fainting disorder. I have severe POTS, for those wondering. The day this happened, I came home from work to see a car parked right under the no parking fire lane sign and on the sidewalk. The car blocked the way into my apartment and I had to leave the wheelchair in my car. I started taking photos of the car because this had been an issue with the owner for months. My landlord had told me to get photos of it and then email them to him every time she did it. While I'm taking the photo, the owner of the car comes out of her apartment to scream at me. I just stayed calm and I tried to walk into my apartment. She then gets into my face and she continues screaming. And by reflex, I put my arms up and I shoved her back. Well, that only made her more aggressive as she then grabs me by the throat and she began to hit me. After about a minute, my neighbors and roommate come running out and they got her off me. The police were called and the paramedic showed up because my neck was bleeding from how hard she dug her nails into my throat. And I end up going to the ER because I had a syncope episode while the paramedics were there. Now, I decided to press charges thinking that I'd just get an aggravated assault or something. But what ended up happening I could have never imagined. When the police went to arrest her, they found out that the car was stolen, without insurance, and she didn't have a license, and she also had a gun which was also marked stolen. I don't know what happened exactly, but they somehow saw that there was used needles all over the apartment with her 8-year-old child. The child's in foster care and she's in jail without bond. The DA said that her child recorded it as she apparently told her to. And it was already ruled as assault because of the overwhelming proof, plus the 7 counts of assault she's gotten in the past 5 years already. She's now lost her kid, her home, her car, and she's going to be in jail for about 30 years or more, depending on what the state charges her with for the drugs. Talk about accidental justice served, right? Like, what a fallout that was. And to think, all OP did was report that psycho woman for attacking them over a parking spot. Like, it just boggles my mind how many people are so quick to anger. And with the 7 counts of assault she's gotten in the past 5 years, I agree with this person when they comment, "You did society a favor by taking the hit. You walk away with some scratches and bruises and maybe a bit rattled, but you took a dangerous person off the streets, which may have saved that child's life." Seems like this is one case where karma was an even bigger bitch than your neighbor. So I live in a suburban area of a fairly large city. I'm renting a basement suite with a friend. I moved into this spot recently and would say that I'm a pretty chill person to live around. I work full-time, go to classes, so I'm rarely home, so basically never disruptive. That said, one important thing about this neighborhood is that it has no driveways, but street parking is plentiful, and it's never hard to find a spot within steps of your house on either side of the street. I've been parking directly across the street from my place. That way, I don't have to turn around when I get home, and there's always been spots in front and behind me. I tend to only drive my car about once a week, and getting into it this morning, I noticed not one, but multiple notes. The first is a full page tucked under my wiper blades that read, "Be a good neighbor. Park on your side of the street like you told us." And I'm thinking, what the heck? I just moved into this neighborhood, and I've certainly never spoken to anyone on the street. It's also strange and unsettling that they know I live on the other side of the street, as that means they must have watched me leave my car, and I tend to only drive really late since I work the night shift. Since apparently I didn't respond quickly enough to their first note, they then left a second, and then a series of question mark post-its on my windshield. I think, whatever, it's probably just an over-controlling old person. No biggie for me to turn around and park on the other side. So I park on the correct side of the street, wanting to avoid all confrontation until the other night. I had gotten off late from work, so I pull into my street, park and then hop out of my car before I totally register that I didn't turn around. At this point, it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, whatever, I'm sure it won't affect anyone. Well, I thought wrong. The next morning, there was an even more passive-aggressive sticky note on my windshield, calling me an inconsiderate and disrespectful a-hole. And I thought to myself, cool, I can do that. That said, I have a membership to a car-sharing service in the city. How it works is you can unlock a car from an app, and then pay by the minute that you drive, and then park it and leave it in the allowable zones. One such zone is on my street. So I decide that I'm going to do a little commute home and find every car within walking distance from me. One by one, I rent each car, drive it to my street, and park it directly across from my house. By the time I'm done, within a quarter block, there's a series of rental cars, taking all the north side spots. Of course, I left lots of spaces directly across the street. There was plenty of space to park. I hope my neighbors love their parking options on the public street. Guys, I am always amazed at the lengths people will go to teach others a lesson. And I'm equally amazed at the fact that some people get so upset over parking spots. Like, everybody should know that public parking is first come, first serve, right? So why even leave those notes? And another thing, like, you never ever know who you're messing with, and that neighbor is lucky that OP didn't get malicious and start stalking them and ruining their lives, because there's people out there that will do that. Just from reading through the comments, guys, the amount of slash his tires and key his car comments are wild. So 2 years ago, a new family moves into our quiet little neighborhood, and they began their reign of terror. We've lived here for over 20 years in this neighborhood, and except for these past 2 years, it's been wonderful. I love all of our neighbors, except this family. This family sucks. Now, I'm not even sure where to begin. These people are loud, they're dirty, they're obnoxious, their dog barks at all hours, and they constantly yell at each other. Also, they throw parties well into the night. Another thing they do is they steal my older neighbor's paper. They actually train their Rottweiler to fetch the neighbor's paper, which is impressive but wrong. They throw their dog's poo into other yards so much. They even cut my 80-something-year-old neighbor's prized roses for themselves. Like, who does that? There's about 100 issues I could write, how we've all dealt with them, but this past weekend was my own glorious take on it all. And oh yes, we've tried talking to them, we've tried inviting them over, we've done nice things for them, and all we've expected is they act like decent neighbors. That's never happened. So one thing about our neighborhood is parking is scarce. Most of these homes are classic 1950s with single-lane driveways, and parking's limited even on the streets. There is a busy road a few blocks away that has great nightlife and popular restaurants, which means that at times, especially on the weekends, the street can fill up. This family has 4 drivers and 5 vehicles, with only enough space for 2 in their driveway at a time. They would constantly park and leave their vehicles for days, sometimes weeks, in front of other people's homes, sometimes leaving their driveway empty for no reason, and all of their cars are parked on the road. Now, this isn't a big deal, except for how and when they would do it. These people were intentional about it. They would do it to cause the most grief for everyone, and this went on for months. A complete F you to everyone. So after months of this, and no one retaliating or giving them the satisfaction of how pissed we all are, they start on purpose parking in ways to make it difficult to get out of our driveways. I had to have my husband come out most mornings to guide me, so I wouldn't hit their car as I backed out of my own driveway. There were also times where they blocked in my neighbor's car on the street, to where they couldn't get out. Finally, this old retired neighbor goes down to the police station and inquires about what to do. They found a code or law stating that so much space from the sides of the driveways and yada 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 is required. So we come home one night to freshly painted yellow curbs outlining everyone's house surrounding this one. A few weeks ago, my husband's car breaks down, and he has to get towed. On his way back home, he starts talking with the tow truck driver about these a-hole neighbors and their cars. The driver then tells my husband that if these cars are parking illegally, that we should call the non-emergency line, and if they receive a ticket, to call him, and he can tow them at the owner's expense. It's the law. My husband and him keep talking, and they even meet up for a beer a few nights later. He's a real good guy. About a month ago, we met a couple at one of our friends' gatherings, and it just so happened that the husband's an officer. We got to talking, and that's when I brought up the a-hole neighbors and their parking. He says that he'll drive through on his shift if he has time, and if he sees them parked in the yellow, he has no problem ticketing them. I thought to myself, great. Because at this point, we've been calling almost daily about how their cars are parked illegally, but nothing was happening. That Saturday night, he sends me a text saying he ticketed 3 cars. I missed that text, so no tow truck. But I kind of figured that with the 3 tickets, they would get the idea. Well, they didn't. Off and on all week, it was the same. This past Saturday, the teenage son throws a party, and everyone, I mean every single one of their guests and them, parked in the yellow of someone's driveway, or they blocked someone out altogether. Obviously, the kid told all of his friends to block our driveways, or to block our cars in. I sent a text to our officer friend, who then told me to call the non-emergency line, and he'd be the one to look into it. But I'm scheming bigger at this point. I call up the tow truck driver, and I tell him that there's at least 15 cars parked illegally, and all are about to receive parking tickets for blocking driveways and cars. I let him know that we're friends with an officer, and he and I scheme a little further. We get a solid plan. I then call the officer friend back, and I tell him our plan. And I also mention that the party's likely gonna be filled with underage drinkers. He and I finalized the plan, and here's how it all went down. The officer and 3 of his partners go through the neighborhood, citing all the cars. Meanwhile, our tow truck driver friend has assembled a group of drivers in the nearby grocery store parking lot. The tow truck drivers start at the ends of our street, grabbing the cars as quickly as possible. There's a few alarms here and there, but no way they could hear it in the party. When they approach the house, my husband makes an anonymous call about an underage party in the neighborhood. Conveniently, our officer friend just so happens to still be in the neighborhood, so he and his partner go to the house to check on it. As they knock on the door, the lights go out, the music shuts off, and the house goes quiet. At this moment, the tow trucks come in, and they're now towing the remaining 5 cars right from in front of their home. I just wish I could see the kids' faces inside, as they're all having a dilemma about what to do. Do they go outside and bust themselves for underage drinking to try to stop their cars from being towed? Or do they just sit and bite the bullet and watch $250 go down the drain? On Sunday, they had 3 cars return from being towed, and all 3 cars are parked just shy of the yellow lines. I call this a win. What a master plan that was, and for sure OP did the right thing. Like, not only were those people entitled a-holes, but they were illegally being entitled a-holes. I only wish OP came back with an update saying those horrible neighbors moved out and balance was restored and the neighborhood flourished with them gone, because nothing is worse than having crappy neighbors around you. So a few weeks ago, I finally bought a new car. It's nothing too flashy, but it's a big deal for me because I've been saving up for a while. Anyways, I was feeling good about it. So one morning, I was driving to work and I saw my neighbor walking down the street. We're friendly, but we're not super close, and I figured I'd be nice, so I pulled over and asked if he needs a lift. He happily accepted, and during the ride, we realized that we work fairly close to each other, which is no big deal, right? Well, apparently, that one ride turns into an unspoken agreement. The next day, I see him standing at the same spot, clearly waiting for me. So I thought, alright, whatever, I'll just give him another ride. But now, it's been every single day since then. Rain or shine, the guy's there. There's no text, no asking. He just stands there waiting at the same time every single day. At first, I didn't mind too much, but now it's getting on my nerves. And some mornings, I just want to listen to music, zone out, or even stop for a coffee without worrying about someone else's schedule. I even tried leaving earlier once, thinking he would get the hint, but no. The next day, he mentions how he must have missed me. Now, I don't want to be a jerk, but I never agreed to be his professional chauffeur. I was just trying to be nice once, but now I feel awkward to bring it up because I don't want to cause any weird tension with a neighbor. Would I be the bad guy if I just started running late or having meetings in the morning? Or should I straight up tell him that I don't want to give him rides every day? In my opinion, heck no, and I don't think a single person would think that OP's the bad guy for not wanting to drive this person. And let me tell you, I had a coworker like this once. I gave the guy a ride home just one day, and he expected every single day after that. And with a coworker being at the same workplace, it's really hard to dodge them. And I'll tell you what works, just telling them straight, I don't want to give you a ride every single day. Because here's the thing, if you give excuses like, oh, I have early meetings, you know what's gonna happen? They'll start saying, oh, you know what, I can leave a bit earlier. Oh, you have a late meeting tomorrow, I can go to work late. Keep driving me. Again, in my opinion, OP needs to tell them straight or keep on driving past and just give the guy a friendly wave every single morning. He'll soon get the hint. Or don't even look at him while driving past. Just obliterate that relationship, right? Guys, let me know your thoughts. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /entitled people. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stories. If you did, hit that thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you don't miss these crazy stories. And if you missed the last episode on the channel, it's in our /entitled people episode. Another one where psycho Karens keep getting arrested. It's such a wild one. So go check it out if you haven't. And myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.